Hello and welcome to Quality Time. My name is Habib, and today we will talk about quality of management. With us is Marcin Kot, and he will explain a little bit more about what is good management and what is quality in it. Marcin, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope so. You're also fine, and our viewers also have a good, great day.
I'm very excited because today we're going to touch the very important subject. What gives the quality? And we know that everything comes from the top. So we will try to understand how the proper leadership, how proper management, how the proper approach can lead us to outcomes that we want. So, but first of all, tell me if managing people was your dream job, if leading people was your dream job when you were 5 years old, let's say.
No. I finished high school in about 1997. There was a time, the days that the economy in Poland was starting up, warming up. There were a lot of unemployment. So, no, it wasn't my dream. My dream was to get any job, actually.
Okay, so you just dreamed of making some money.
Even no, have a job, just have a job.
So how it become what you do today? It was a long road, right?
Yes, it was long ride. I start my first job was to produce a pavement. You know the small
Ah.
bricks on the earth which we walking on, and I was working about 2 months maybe, and I earned a lot of money for this time. But I decided this work is not for me. I rather like to work using my head than my hands. This was our first step to be here today.
And what is your career path right now?
If I understood this question well, it's a lot of different experience from different branches, different companies. I was a graphic designer. I was a salesman. I was a sales director. And finally, before my 30, I become a president of a board of production company. I have about 50, maybe 60 employee, uh, 3 shifts per day, and work for biggest company in Poland, like Orlen, in Europe, like IKEA, Adidas, Swatch, and similar.
Yes, it's very interesting, Martin, because if we look at your LinkedIn profile and we read what you do, you help leaders to lead. But what does it mean? What do you actually do today?
Yes, today I can say that the people pay me to ask questions,
Hmm.
so they are able to find their own answers.
Okay, great. So I have a couple of questions to you. So let's start. What is a good leader?
Good leader.
Yeah. Name three traits that you think make a good leader.
I think the leadership is about trust and nothing else.
Nothing else. So it's one.
Yes, leadership is a most complex job you can choose because you have
Hmm.
get experience. You have to know about a lot about your companies, about your branch, about you have to be professional.
But is it really the most, like the hardest or more complex? I would say that maybe a doctor or brain surgeon is a bit more complex than, leading a company. And there's a lot of people who do it like they don't really have a formal experience. They don't know how to lead, but they understand it by heart. So they just do things right and they lead a company. On the other hand, if you have a brain surgeon, there's not many people who would just do things right by heart. They have to go through all these like studies and courses and then learn and learn and learn. So is it really the most complex job?
Yes, your example about brain surgery. Uh, if you get to the hospital as this doctor and start this surgery, you have to lead all personnel because you decide not only about which place to cut, but you decide about everything. You have to lead every people, all your staff, on this place. So it's most complex.
Okay, Marcin, I like your devotion to your idea of trust. Um, but on the other hand, the one thing is important. You need to lead and you need to trust. And the other question would be, so if we need trust for a good leadership, can AI be a good leader in a company?
I don't think so. It could be good CEO, maybe,
Okay.
maybe good manager, okay, but not a leader. People
Okay.
have to trust. More the definition of morale that is a faith that we can do this or something. So my experience as a leader is from elementary school. I was a scout in elementary school, and after 1 year, I was a leader of small pack of these small scouts. Few years later, in the fifth class of elementary school, it was a middle scouts, and I also was a chief of this deputy. And every time I have to make some decision, I was stopping and thinking, okay, what about trust? Did they people trusted me a lot to put me on this leadership place? So I think the most important thing in leadership is trust. Another example is a Navy SEAL. When Navy SEAL recruiting staff, they have a very easy way to make decision. They put two axes. On one axis is trust, on other axis is your performance or skills, and they rather choose a guy or lady who they trust more than they without big skills than someone who have skills on the top but they don't trust.
Marcin, tell me, how do you build trust?
By listening.
By listening.
It's so easy that it's sometimes it's a problem to get money for this answer.
It sounds so obvious. Yeah.
Yes, you need to listen, people. If you believe, you can say that God gives you our 2 ears and 1 mouth. You have to listen twice you speak. But I think that everything you need is to listen to people. Of course, sometimes you have to listen between the lines. You have to listen not only your ears, but your heart. You have to use empathy. You have to listen to emotions and a lot of things. You have to look at your staff or at your people and listen yourselves also. What I feel about this guy or this lady.
It's a very
Why?
interesting approach. Yeah.
Why I feel this. What she or he actually wants to tell me. So I think that this is a most important skill about leadership.
I think now I understand a little bit more why you were so straightforward to say that any AI wouldn't be a good leader. And because by leader, you mean someone everyone can trust. And the trust is built on listening, but you cannot listen if you don't understand what someone is saying. And it would be very hard for a machine to understand the human perspective. And correct me if I'm wrong, but do I understand correctly that what you mean is that a good leader is someone who understands people?
Yes. John Maxwell said that leadership is all about the influence and nothing else. Okay, but how to force someone to do what you want without understanding him, without knowing him, without know what is his motivations, and so without knowing problems, maybe in family, maybe with health, and so. Now I think that someone who watching this could think, okay, this guy is crazy because he now splits to different different worlds, world of business, my job, and world of my privacy. But I think it couldn't be divided. We work about by the law we work 8 hours, but
Yeah.
really we work about 12 hours.
Yeah.
So the fact is that we live in work much more than in home. There's no way to split it, to divide it. If you want to convince someone, to force someone, to make someone to do what you want, you have to know this person.
Okay.
And most important thing, this person have to trust you.
So tell us one more thing, Marcin, because you said very firmly that, okay, AI cannot be a good leader, but it can be a good CEO. So what is the difference between a leader and the CEO? I always thought that a CEO has to be a good leader.
In English, there are only two words: leader and manager or CEO. In Polish, we have a third word, przywódca. And I think that there is a hidden the differences, because leader is someone who leads, but not always leads the people to target, but is just first one in a kind of table or something, have our best result and so. This is a one side. The second side is, or other side is that CEO is just name or three letters on your business card. You ask me what I do. I have also the program which could be translated in English, how to become a leader when your leader cannot or don't want. You can be a leader even if you are on the bottom of the organization. So CEO don't have to be a good leader. The biggest companies, there are also always two person on the who leads company. It's a Microsoft, it's a Apple, it's a Amazon. There are always two guys, two people. Maybe it shouldn't be guys.
Yeah, maybe shouldn't be guys, of course. Two people, yeah.
In many organizations, I think that could be two persons, good CEO and good leader.
So CEO is more like a director that manages the company, and then a leader sees the future, and he looks into the future and is one step ahead, dragging all the company to a point that he sees as a point worth making.
The one person have to have a vision and know why do something or what to do, and second person or personality should be able to find the answers how to do it. The problem is that these two part of our brain very rare are together. So there are a lot of people with vision, but they have no idea how to do it, and there are a lot of people with who are very well educated, very precise thinking, but they have no vision. And I'm involved in some startup, and I'm sometimes helping startups, and I see this. There are a lot of young guys, young ladies, with very bright visions, with very smart ideas, but they have a problem with actually easy things. But these easy things are very often in the second part of brain. Okay. I know the vision, but I don't know how to think, how to do this. That's why I can say that people pay me to ask the questions.
It's a great job, man. Tell us a little bit more. What keeps you going? What makes you do what you do? What makes you happy in your job?
My phone. Because, of course, money. I work for the money to be able to buy memories.
But you sound like someone who actually works for something else. You sound like someone who likes what you do. So, give us the next answer. We understand money is important. I understand money is important. But what really makes you're a smart guy, right? You can do anything for money. If you would go to any business, you would make good money. But what makes you stay in this kind of business?
As I started to say, my phone.
Okay.
Sometimes, even in the middle of the night, sometimes I get a message with a thank you. or you were right, and sometimes it takes someone 1 week, sometimes 1 year, and after we finish cooperation, and after this period of time I receiving a message, Marcin, you have right, or finally I understood this.
Oh,
So I try it, and my way is better. Okay, no problem. But in these cases, I am proud that this person could find its own way. This is my drive. Money,
okay.
of course, very important, but the smile on my customers, that I see the company sometimes grows, sometimes my customer says I don't want to work in this company anymore, so I try to look in something new. The smile on the face, my customers actually.
So you like the human touch to the job. You like helping people. You like listening to them. So maybe you're a good leader.
One thing is for sure, uh, that my my mental toughness, my experience, my expressions are in this level that very often when I get into a group of people, they look at me as a leader.
I think people are a bit tired of all these success stories, of hearing the good things. I think we love to hear about fails, about the bad things, about things that people don't like. And I have a feeling that it's because we learn from mistakes mostly. Nice to read a success story, but you don't learn a lot from success story. You learn a lot from mistakes of others. And could you tell us the three things that you really don't like about your job, so we can better understand how hard it might be to try to teach people how to be leaders?
I try to not to work with the people with very low values. I when I'm starting, I meet someone, and someone told me, Marcin, I hear you could help me. Let's talk. Okay. So my first questions, now even if they're not straight, this question is about values. When I see someone who wants to squeeze people like a citron or something like this, I don't want to work with someone like this. Of
Okay.
course, maybe it's possible to change it. Okay, but so I need to be sure that my knowledge won't don't help anyone who will use it in the wrong way.
Okay.
I understand this. I said it clearly. There are a lot of companies, no, maybe not a lot, but there are some companies which I don't want to work for any amount of money. But also I think this kind of behavior of people. So I think the best answer will be a joke. Uh, Joke question: how many psychologists you need to screw in a light bulb?
To screw in light bulb, how many psychologists? I don't have a clue, man.
One, but the bulb will be convinced to be screwed in. So I don't think that the behavior that someone will force someone else to be this light. I often get the phone calls or mails, Marcin, you need to help my son, or you need to help my husband. Okay, but this person won't will have to want my help.
Okay, I
It's
understand what you're
impossible to
saying.
force anyone.
So you can't
You
help
know,
someone who don't want help.
it's impossible.
Mm.
But when I'm looking around the world, I think, and I'm nearly sure that 99% of us needs a help.
Mm.
The last December there was a researchers which shows that about 70% of Polish people have a problem with depression,
Okay.
but 68% of Polish people afraid to talk about this.
That's
So
scary
these are,
statistics, man.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a little bit more even. But maybe 10% I really want to help. Uh, Maybe 40, 50% don't even think that the world, its world could looks a little bit different. So this is the longest answer. I don't like this kind of behavior. That someone wants me to help someone else who don't want this help.
Okay, so you don't like to force yourself upon someone because it, from your experience, doesn't make sense. And I think from also from psychological experience, you cannot like just force someone to be a better person, to go through this road of understanding what is wrong, what I want to change, and then try to seek help of someone like you who can help develop certain traits, develop certain point of view. Okay, but one important thing, Marcin, was that you mentioned motivations. Could you tell us a little bit more about your motivations in your work?
My motivation in my work. I think I answered for this question. The money and this messages in the evening sometimes.
Money and help.
I
Okay.
just like this. I just like this. And every time I receive this kind of message, uh, I treat it like a proof that I'm doing my job better every day. This is my motivation. This is my drive. Uh, and I'm a little bit too lazy to manage a big company.
Hmm.
At the end of 2019, I am a certificate trainer of BNI. It's the biggest networking company in the world, and they make every year a conference global. And in 2019, there is in Warsaw there are about 2,500 companies from around the world. I'll visit this place. I have one goal: find someone, a company, which I can sign the exclusive contract in Poland. You know, my dream was to make a big company in Poland, to import something, maybe export something, but to have an exclusive contract for something. And I found three companies from three different places from the world. It was Japan, India, and United States. And it was actually November. We was negotiating this contract by December. At the January, I decided to not sign anyone of this contract. I decided, okay, I'm I don't want this. So I decided to earn money only or live only what I have in my brain, in my in my head, uh, and this is it motivated me actually.
You mentioned that you want to do your job better and better. So, how do you actually measure the results of your job? Do you have any kind of metrics, any kind of help that can tell you what you're doing wrong, what you're doing good? Can you tell us a little bit more about the process of making your a job better?
It's actually two questions. First question is that I can measure my results as a result of my customers.
Okay.
Of course, of course, this not my results. So I never say that I am as good as my customers are. No, my customers are good. I'm sometimes help them. If I help someone and I see the progress from progress about 10, maybe 15%, uh, and I put one word on my sentence or 8 hours of my from my time to help someone. And second answer or second question is about my own results. And I think that it's really hard to measure because I can measure it by my account.
Mhm.
But I can also check how often my phone calls. Actually, this is a two things that I looking at. How much I can take from 1 hour of my job, and how often my phone calls.
Okay, so it's very hard to have a certain metrics that you could track that would give you a very firm feedback on what you're doing. It's more abstract and you just feel. But do you sometimes do a retrospective and you think, okay, what I could do better with this client? What could I tell better, explain better? Do you have a moment in your job for this kind of activity?
Habib, I have it. I plan it. I plan
Ah,
it. I
okay.
have it in my schedule every quarter, every year, and every year. Every year, I in about a Christmas, I switching off the phone. I bring a bottle of water, and all I do is to check my calendar, and I'm checking what I was doing in every single day of year. And I'm when I'm planning something, I put the colors in the calendar. But when I looking backward, I checking. Okay, I meet Habib today. It this meeting helps me or not? What I should do next time if someone like Habib calls me? Agree or disagree? This is one kind of one way of thinking. Second way of thinking is about not only about the people but also about the places which I visit.
Hmm.
Sometimes I want to go for the networking meeting or something like this, and I check every single position from my calendar for every year, and I also checking the results of my customers. Cooperation process with me is it takes at least minimum three months.
Okay.
6 months is best, and most often it's about the 1 year. And at the end, we say, okay, we did this, we did this, we did this. This is your action plan. Go, just do it.
Okay.
And after this, after maybe a quarter, 2 quarters, I'm calling my customer and asking, okay, what now? You need some advices. Maybe you want to talk about it again. Maybe you need someone from my phone to call you to help you and so. So it actually is a permanent permanent thing that I do. I'm
Okay.
checking every time.
So you actually have your process of quality assurance. You actually actively work on the quality to raise the quality, to review what you did. You have that feedback loop that gives you information, what you can do better, and to excellence in your job. And you said that you try to introduce clients to this kind of feedback loop. You give them list of tasks, and then they come back with the results, and you can look together at what they managed to do and what they didn't do. And I think, Marcin, I'm really interested if you would agree with me on that, that a very important part of company, of leading the company, is to understand what is happening, what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong. What is the most common problem in the companies worldwide?
Okay, they don't understand or don't have a culture of sharing a failure. When you success, there are a lot of people who are happy. You know, I don't know if it's in English this sentence, but in Polish we say that success have a lot of fathers. You know, it's
Yeah.
easy to be happy when you succeed, but there's a small part of companies with a culture of sharing failure. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, not fail. And this is a this is this magic piece of recipe to have a good company. When you have trust, when you build an atmosphere of trust, when you're a leader who people trust, you can always open the door and invite everyone and say, okay, who messed up in the last week and what we can do better next time. This is a most for now, of course, maybe in a few years it will change. But for now, I see that is the most easiest way, most lowest hanging fruit to improve companies.
Okay, so
Start.
instead of Okay, instead of asking what happened and who did it,
Yeah.
ask what happened and how we can avoid it in the future.
The most safe or safest way to travel is a traveling by airplane. Why? Because they have a procedure to share failure. When airplane crashes, there are a lot of people, commission, government, and a lot of people who checking why it happens.
And you're actually quite right, Marcin, because it's very interesting what you mentioned. Aeronauts, aero business, aeroplanes. Very important to share the failure, understand, and fix it. And what we saw with Boeing 737 MAX, two Boeings fall down. Boeing wasn't sharing information on that failures. They tried to cover it up. And the first catastrophe led to the other because there was no culture of sharing that info. And once they actually faced it, they dealt with it. We haven't seen any more planes crashing. So it's very interesting example, especially from my perspective as a software testing company leader. Makes sense. It makes me understand this, why we need that feedback loop.
A few weeks ago, I was a quite big company from the south of Poland. I was speaking with the manager and I told him, let's try to think about ways to prepare to develop a culture of sharing failure. Are you crazy? Okay,
It's
no,
scary.
I'm not. You're crazy. All law of aeronautics is the rule that when you admit to your mistake, you don't have the consequences if you admit.
That's quite funny because that's exactly what any parent would tell you that if you start punishing children, they will stop telling you the truth. That's the only difference. And if you just let them admit, they will admit because they will understand that there's no consequence, like hard consequence. They don't have to be afraid. They can trust you.
Habib, I have two kids.
Okay.
18 years old son and 14 years daughter. And I was on some trainings to be better parent. And I remember a question: what kind of parent am I that my children's lying to me? You know, I have to be really bad parent than my children's lying to me. And why I'm talking about this? But you only what we need to change this is the word the parent to the leader. What kind of leader am I that my people cheating on me?
Oh, we now know that it's a bad leader, right? The trust is the most important, as you said. Can you tell us how a good leadership influence quality of the work of the company?
I will ask for two questions. First question is how I can measure the quality of leader. I think that's one of the thing we can check is the rotation of the people. How many, how often they change the job. You know, when someone trusts you, they want to work with you because they're afraid what is outside, you know? And this is one, of course, only, but I think the quite important parameter. When people trust you, when you're a good leader, they want to work with you. They don't want to develop their career on the other side or other companies. And a second answer is about the quality of company. I think that the best answer is that you have to treat your employee like you want they to treat clients. You know?
You want to treat your employee as you want them to treat clients.
Yes.
Okay. And why is it so?
It's some kind of magic, you know. When you work, when you buy something from the very good management company, you feel this quality in everything. I'm not an Apple freak, but when I bought this computer, I saw that they really care about quality. Everything in this box was prepared just for me.
There is one very interesting thing for me. You talk a lot about working with companies, about improving their qualities, traits of their leaders, of the managers. Do you see that over time, software helped to make your job a better job?
Yes, of course. I use some paid tools, some free tools, but we live in the times that without software, it's just hard to live, even not only work. Yes, I use software. I use software to do things which are boring or which I have to do it again and again.
Okay, so you outsource the boring stuff to robots and automates, and you focus on the human part. Because there are those, the ultra freaks that say, "Oh, I don't do with these kind of things. I only use pen and paper." But you're not one of them.
Oh no, you know, I was this kind of person which used only paper and pencil, but few years, maybe 2 years ago, I decided to save the planet and do everything not to use the paper. I have I have also a tablet which is not a tablet. It's only electronic paper. Yes, without software, it's impossible to live for now. It helps. It's so easy things like make an appointment.
Oh,
We are traveling a lot now.
yeah.
Always, we was always traveling a lot, but now we can use a software which helps us to meet online, for example.
Making an appointment is never an easy thing. Never an easy thing.
Yes, but we can you can also automate a lot of things for free, actually, even. So yes, I use software.
Okay.
I am freak about this one kind of software from company started with M. I use Microsoft Office from the beginning of my career, and I know that a lot. There was a time I was training someone from Excel, Microsoft Exchange, and so. I can imagine the life without software.
It's very funny. I was speaking with one of those CTOs of a logistic company, a very important guy, but also very friendly person. We were working together on a contract for a client that was VIP client for them. And I was asking him, like, how can you improve your job? And he said to me, learn Excel. That was his answer. Learn to analyze the data. That was all he actually said to me. Yeah. So looking at the data, what would you say the business you're working in, the consultancy business, will look like in 20 years? Will it change a lot with the technology we have?
My business is in the one leg is in the business and one leg is in the psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but the best answer is again a little bit story. In 1920s, 1940s, medical knowledge have to have about 20 years to double. Now, to double the medical knowledge, we need only 5 years.
Whoa.
Psychology is a part of medical knowledge. And when we look at this way for the people, we can imagine how much knowledge is to find before us, but we are able to measure people not only about their weight or height, but also in the mental. So I think that this is the future.
Okay.
This will influence or have a big impact on this in my branch in next years.
Okay, so development of neuroscience, psychology, will influence the way we work right now because we will understand human much better. But do you think we will have this like a good CEO chip implanted in a brain or good leader chip? You just buy, pay, and now you become a good leader. Is it
You
possible?
don't need a chip. You don't need a chip. Just hire me.
Ah, yeah, but you know, it takes a lot of time, it takes work. I want solutions right
Okay.
now. You know, I want to buy this thing, implant, and done. I'm good leader.
I think it could be possible because now we are able to measure your mental toughness.
Oh,
Measure this. I have the certificate. I can give you a questionnaire. It's a psychometric questionnaire. It's not a kind of magic wand. It's a psychometric questionnaire, and I can measure your mental toughness. And there are,
man.
of course, this is a psychometric tool, so it's a
Mm.
statistical tool. Uh, uh, but there are a lot of correlations. When we saw that someone have a like this on this questionnaire, it could be good leader. If some this, it couldn't be good leader, of course, because it's a psychometric test. We are actually 68% chances to improve your mental toughness. And if you want to be a good leader, we really know what you have to do to become a better leader in the numbers, not only to believe.
Mm. That's true. Numbers are the best. Data is the key. Always. You can always think. You can always say, "I think," "I suppose," "I feel," but it doesn't really say anything because your feelings can be wrong. They can be influenced by so many things you've learned, you've experienced. And what you're saying is that you can measure those metrics that tell you how of a good leader you are right now because of these couple of traits you have and then what to improve, where to improve it to become a better leader. I really like it. So there's a data-driven excellence point to it.
Yes, I took this questionnaire a few weeks ago again, and I saw progress, a little, but a progress. And I actually feel it, but now I can see this in the numbers. You talk about one thing I'd like to talk a little bit. You talked about feelings, about intuitive, and so. And it's funny because I have a very nice workshop about precision thinking.
Oh.
I'm teaching people how to think by precisely. But one part of this training is a intuitive thinking,
Hmm.
because we can train our intuitive thinking. It's not it's not a magic wand. We actually really know what to do, how to behave, to improve our intuition. Intuition, yes.
It's very funny, Marcin, because that's something that we show within companies that raises the quality of the software very quick. If you're a manager, you have to, a product owner, you have to make a decision. This decision can be based on your intuition, can be based on your knowledge, on your experience, but can also be based on decision driven by data. And we noticed as a company that whenever we try to help someone, the best point to start is to teach them how to rely not on what you think, but what you know. And it seems that you have a similar approach in general to human psychic.
There's a brain and heart, and there is no differences actually. The difference is that we can believe in heart because we don't see the numbers. But the good example is the Polish bank, actually M Bank, and Prezes Stypułkowski. He buy a really big research about developing M Bank as a internet bank.
Mm.
And the answer was Polish people, Poland are not ready to get the money transfers by internet. We are used to use it in the building. And President Stypułkowski said, that's why we do this.
Makes sense. I think Poland is the quickest growing market for contactless payments, for internet banking. We are not right now. We are. I think there's a couple of African countries that are developing even quicker than Poland. But it's very interesting that sometimes you know what you should do, and there's no data to support it. Very interesting point. So, last question is very easy. What are the biggest challenges that you see coming in the next 20 years for your consultancy job?
Only 17% of employer want to work.
Oh,
It's it's a very very small amount, you know.
17% wants to work and the
Yes,
rest
only
wants to.
17% of people are engaged in 100% in job which they do. So this is a biggest problem in the next year. I I think that I know why. Because of social media, and that's I'm
Okay.
not a freak. I'm not a crazy about this. I just see the researches which shows that social media gives you everything that your brain need to be happy.
Okay.
So all your brain is thinking every hour is when I can get my phone and check this. You know this
Ooh.
FOMO thing, fear of missing opportunities, to force people to get the phones to be in social media. Every one of
Mm.
us, or almost every one of us, wants to be a social media star.
It's so
And
scary.
yes, it's scary, and its most impact is on the young people.
Oh wow.
It's a
Yeah,
big
because
problem.
it drives the dopamine drives us to do stuff, and you get so much dopamine from using social media that you don't really need to do anything else because you're instantly rewarded for whatever you do. And even there is this study that shows that you are rewarded with more dopamine by just an opportunity of doing something pleasurable than by actually doing stuff. So only by thinking about just getting your phone, you are much more motivated to actually get that phone instead of a book, instead of listen to a good podcast, instead of actually learn something. It's very scary, man. And 17%, you say. So
Yes, it's a not problem not only in Poland.
does it? Do you think it connects with quiet quitting? Have you heard about quiet quitting?
It's actually quite quitting. This is the reason 17% people, you know, uh, you can look at this on the other side. You have to find 83 people more, 83% people more to get this job done.
It's scary, man. Now, I thought it's going to be pleasant conversation, but now I need to, sit back at the table and think of the future of the company. It's scary. Do you think
That's why.
there's a way we can
Believe me.
fight this?
Yes, but there is only radical words in my mind now.
Disconnect social media. Forbid.
Yeah. And
Hey, you
I
know
think that
what, Marcin? That's actually quite funny because in China, you know that TikTok is Chinese. So in China, TikTok is allowed, but the users under 18 would have these restrictions of the content they can look at, of the time they can spend in the app, of the time after which they cannot use this social media platform. It's very interesting because it seems that China already started to see this problem and tackling
yes,
it.
this is a very smart nation. They not allowed kids to play in computer games.
Oh, now we're gonna
There are
have problems, man.
a lot of restriction, and now from the other side, it seems crazy. It seems stupid. There's a lot of fun in playing games. Yes, it's true, but a very huge problem and very big risk that we will become not nice kind of species on this planet. To finish this conversation about social media, I will ask you: is it looks similar for you?
Yes, I love social media, man. I love especially the opportunity to quickly connect with a broad audience and tell my story. It feels direct So I think I'm really hooked on the idea of communication. It gives so much opportunities for me to suddenly reach so many people with so many ideas that I feel are important, and I think that really hooks me on.
No, my daughter, 14 years, 2 years of online lessons. Uh, at the beginning of this year, they start to normal regular lessons. I think it was about maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months, when someone get COVID again, and there was decision. Okay, this class go home, go online. I'm back in home evening, and I see my daughter is crying. Why? Because we're online again. I miss my friends so much that I don't want it. So it will be a really big problem. I think that we should look very careful at the East, what's going on in China, because they're a smart nation.
Okay, so the biggest challenge is actually we, the people.
Yes, but I see also the big opportunity on the other direction. You said a few minutes ago about Africa. This continent, these nations are fastest growing market. The internet connection grows about 10% by year in Africa. And I few minutes ago said that only 17% of people are engaged in job. I think that maybe there is a solution or answer to find the people who really want to work.
Yeah, we saw this in Rwanda. I think I think Israel invested a lot of money into infrastructure, in the 3G infrastructure at that time, and they noticed tremendous economical growth. I think 7-8% instantly, because there was plenty of people that could instantly do jobs for companies in the US, in Canada. So it might make sense, but it still scares me. It scares the living crap out of me, what you said. 17% of people wanting to work, and our economy is based on producing and consuming.
Yes.
Okay, Marcin, it really makes some challenges, but also a lot of fun for you in the future. Let's see how the business, how the leaders, how the CEOs will be changing the world we're living in. But for now, thank you very much for a great conversation. And thank you guys for listening. It was Quality Time with Habib and Marcin.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me. Have a nice life.
Let's hope for the best. Thank you. Hey, cheers.